She was sent as a gift to the wrong man, but he never returned her and made her his own. Dawn had just broken over Rattlespur when a stagecoach lurched into Elias Rowan's yard and stopped by the red windmill he'd built himself. The coachman hopped down with a bundled figure and a note. Only when the bundle lifted her head did Elias see the ribbon binding her wrists. "Delivery," the man said. "For the gentleman with the red windmill. A gift." Elias opened the paper. "For Thane Calder, payment and proof." "You've got the wrong place," he said. "I'm Rowan. Windmill's red." That's what it said. The coach rattled away. Silence held. The girl's voice was rope-burn raw. "Please, don't send me back." Elias slid his knife beneath the ribbon, careful as easing a trap off a fox. "What's your name?" She glanced toward the road as if someone might claim it. "Mia." He folded the note. Thane Calder was the kind of man who took and called it owed. Elias didn't owe him air. "You're safe here," he said. "If you want it." For days Nia moved like a shadow, quiet in a borrowed dress. Elias set out 2 plates without mentioning it. He taught her which board squeaked near the pantry and how the dogs would stop barking if you whistled low. When nightmares shook her, he stoked the stove and made coffee and talked about the wind, how it could sing or slice depending on what you set in its path. On the 4th morning she stood with him at the fence. "My uncle sold me," she said, facts laid like cards. "To Calder. He wanted me for a message. I don't want to belong to anyone." "Then we won't let you," Elias said, handing her a hammer. "Help me straighten this top rail." They were eating stew when 3 riders cut through the dusk, Calder's men in oilskin coats. The leader had a scar that bent his mouth into a sneer. "You got something delivered in error, Rowan," he said. "We'll take it off your hands." Elias kept his voice level. "No errors here." Nia stepped into the doorway, the red ribbon now tied at her wrist like a thin band of defiance. Her fingers found Elias's without looking. "She's my wife," he heard himself say. The words startled them both, then settled the room. The scarred man laughed. "Marriage by misdelivery. We'll be back after you remember who runs this county." "Bring a judge," Elias said. "Bring God if he'll ride with you. It won't change a thing." The next day, Elias led Nia to the clapboard church. Pastor Whitfield didn't ask questions a woman might not want to answer. He spoke about promises that build shelter, not cages. Elias slid his mother's brass ring onto Nia's finger. The bell rope creaked. The world held still. On the steps afterward, Nia looked at the ring, then at him. "I chose this," she whispered. "So did I," he said, and felt something root under his ribs. Calder came on the 7th day, riding a black mare with ribbons braided in its mane. Men fanned behind him, hands resting on gun butts. Storm gray stacked along the horizon. "You took what was mine," Calder said. His smile was thin as a knife's reflection. "Hand her over." Nia stepped forward, steady and small. "I'm not a parcel," she said. "And I'm not yours." Calder's gaze cut to Elias. "You'll start a war over a girl." Elias remembered the ribbon marks purpled at Nia's wrist, the way she laughed when the pup stole her boot. "No," he said. "I'll end one." Lightning whitened the yard. Rain came hard. Calder's men drew because that's what men like them do when weather spoils their swagger. Sheriff Tully, who trailed them from town with 3 deputies and a quiet patience, stepped from the cottonwoods as the first shot cracked skyward. All noise and no aim. In the confusion, Nia seized the porch lantern and smacked it against the watering trough. Flame hissed harmless across the surface, a blinding flare. Calder's mare reared and sent him sprawling. Tully put irons on Calder while the deputies disarmed the rest. It wasn't a battle so much as an ending. By night the storm scraped the world clean. Elias and Nia sat on the porch steps, bare feet on damp wood, watching the windmill turn. "People will talk," Nia said, a smile tugging despite the day. "They'll say you never returned me." Elias looked at the faint ribbon mark, already fading. He tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "I didn't," he said. "I returned your name. The rest we'll make." She leaned her head to his shoulder. Out past the fence the field held the dark promise of rows they would plant tomorrow. Inside, 2 bowls waited on the table. On the peg, 2 coats dripped side by side. Morning would come and find 2 mugs steaming, 2 sets of boot prints crossing a yard that had seen men arrive to take and leave with nothing but wet pride. The red windmill would stand stubborn and bright, turning whatever weather came into work, into water, into a life they chose together. By nightfall the storm had quieted, leaving the land washed clean. The yard smelled of wet earth and smoke, but Calder and his men were gone, shackled and dragged off by the sheriff. For the first time in years, Elias's home felt like it could breathe again. Nia sat beside him on the porch steps, her dress damp at the hem, her hair loose and dark against the glow of the lantern. She traced the old ribbon mark on her wrist, now only a faint bruise. "People will talk," she said softly. "They'll say you never returned me, that you kept what was sent here by mistake." Elias turned to her, his voice low but certain. "I didn't return you because you were never a mistake. What came here wasn't a gift or a debt. It was you. And I won't give you back to anyone." Her eyes glistened, catching the light. Slowly, she leaned her head against his shoulder, and he felt the weight of trust more binding than any vow spoken in a church. The storm-washed windmill creaked behind them, blades turning strong and steady in the moonlight, like a promise of tomorrow. Inside, 2 bowls waited on the table, 2 coats dripped on the peg, and a life was beginning where loneliness had once kept its hold. Out in the field, the soil smelled ready for seed, for roots, for growth. Nia closed her eyes, breathing deeply as though for the first time free. Elias laid his hand over hers, rough palms against soft skin. "They sent you as a gift to the wrong man," he said. "But you'll find I'm the right one. And you're home now." The night held them close, and neither looked back.